Greetings, Minecrafters, and welcome to another Minecraft discussion on this gorgeous day. This is Kimberly Quinn, and I'm here to have a really important discussion today on the whole non-negotiable piece to, as far as our self-worth and self-value and who we are. And wow, I've just been very inspired recently, and I'm all about, it's actually one of my personal missions in life is to channel positivity in general, but also helping people to see their value more. So here's the thing, it is non-freaking negotiable. So our own self-worth, our value, and our sense of belonging are just not negotiable with other people. So we've talked about the whole frame thing, right? I don't have my little frame here in my office, but picture it, okay? And when stuff happens to us early on in life, often we are ripped out of our frames. See the one the Beatles in, just pretend, right? We're often ripped out of our frames and into the frames of others, and we then lose track of our own value and our self-esteem and our self-worth and our own authentic power. We lose track of that. Here's the thing, we get back in the frame, do our framework, back in the frame, and still, I actually had this happen not that long ago, kind of looking outside the frame, being pulled away by a situation that was going on where other people were kind of challenging that, because sometimes people will do that. We all walking around with our own issues, and for a brief moment, because I caught myself questioning that. I'm like, wait, whoa, brakes are on, big brakes are on. What you think of me is not more important than what I think of me. Period, end of sentence. That is it. And we can get very caught up in this, and that is because the need to fit in and belong is such a strong force, as humans, and they are different. And Brene Brown, who I love, she's a friend of Oprah and ours, she just doesn't know. She does a lot with this, and there's a very big difference between fitting in and belonging. And I don't think younger I really knew the difference. You kind of come into this later on, I think. The fitting in is really about changing who we are, to kind of like chameleons, like changing who we are to fit the mold of other people. It's conforming because we do have this inherent, need for connection. The only thing is, the difference is that is an authentic connection. That's ego-driven. Let me change myself, what my favorite color is, how I dress, how I talk, where the places I go, or who I talk to, or whatever, so I can fit into your frame. Bullshit. When you get older, you just part of that is age. You start to come out of that, but you also have to work at it a little bit. Versus belonging, true belonging is right in here. True belonging is actually, Brene Brown would say, is a spiritual practice, because when we truly belong, that's the authentic self, right? We don't have any desire in the world to change anything about us. I accept me, and I expect the rest of you to too, because that's just how it is. I accept me, I love me, you can accept me and love me, or go find somebody else to be in the presence of. It isn't going to be me, okay? And it's just absolutely non-negotiable. And then Brene also talked about, I was listening to her today talk about courage kind of in relation to this, and that I'm a big fan of courage. And it's interesting to me because, like other things like resilience, these in different social emotional skill sets, we didn't used to see that like that. We used to think, oh, the only way to learn to become resilient is a school of hard knocks, and now we know that it can be taught. Well, it's the same thing with courage, because courage really is about willingly putting ourselves out there in whatever way, not knowing what the outcome is. So there's a ton of examples with that, okay? But I like to say, I was just saying to our daughter last night about vulnerability, because Brene Brown does tons with vulnerability too. It's that willingness to be naked on a tree branch, so to speak, and it made her laugh, without knowing what's going to happen. Like, you don't have control of it. So if you go into something, you're being a little risky, but you have control of it, that's not the same thing, right? And it all comes from the heart. So this belonging thing is very much related to courage, because it takes tremendous courage to be along the authentic path. Looking at our own demons, looking at all the stuff that held us back, and coming into our own with a sense of belonging. And then I think it was Brene Brown was just talking about the putting yourself out there thing. and oh, this is what she said, and it just made me think of this because I've obviously shared my story a lot with the intention of hopefully helping other people because I know what it's like. I'm all too familiar with the toxic, excruciating feeling of shame that makes us feel not worthy and not like we're not measuring up and flawed and defective and all that. That I really wanted to sort of channel that. And so she talked about telling your story, courage being to share your story, also without knowing what the outcome will be, and what's happened, and wonderfully so with also with a couple of other talks I've done, is it's been wonderful because when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable like that and share our story of being really, truly human and afraid and all the stuff I've shared, people really come up and talk and say things a lot that they've had very similar experiences, and that has really been absolutely made it all worth it. So there we go. Here we go. Non-negotiable. Your self-esteem, your self-worth, your self-value, also all kind of wrapped up into one, and your own sense of belonging are non-negotiable. You don't need the nod of other people, the smiles of other people. Not that those don't feel good. That's fine. Non-freaking negotiable. What they think of you is not more important than what you think of you. And having the courage, which I had to do recently, to stand up and stop that shit is very, very, very important. Because here's the thing, and I'm a super optimist, as you know. Sadly, there are some people out there who will, take as much as you're willing to give, and will, kind of trounce on your frame if you let them. And you just can't let them. That's where the courage part comes in. And also, when you successfully do that and stand up, have the courage to stand up. I think that's Latin for heart, actually. Right? Cur, heart. Anyway, when you have the courage to stand up, that's like that. Then after you do so, you might be a little shaky and little like that was hard. But after you successfully do that, it's like a big old deposit in the self-esteem bank. It makes you stronger because your authentic self is in the driver's seat. And you are strong, and you are whole, and you are complete. Never, ever, ever abandon yourself. Never abandon yourself. Your self-worth is not negotiable. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from the beautiful Champlain College campus in northern Vermont. Have a mindful, valuable day.